Please like and subscribe to our channel and leave a comment, say I subscribed, and we'll reply you. At age 18 I needed to pursue a hard decision. Would it be advisable for me I follow my mother's strides and attempt to turn into a researcher or wed my attractive however very shaky sweetheart? Well, as you will figure out, I went with some unacceptable decision, yet perhaps you can gain from my slip-up. Since I was youthful, my mother was my greatest good example. I used to watch her at home, chipping away at convoluted science issues for her lab. I needed to dazzle her, and used to rest close to her, perusing the most difficult books I could find, like specialties, passed grade and underhanded afterward. While at supper I'd sum up the books to her. Most would agree that I've acquired my mother's energy for science. One time, for instance, we had a multi-week blackout at our home, so I got a book from my school library about generators and fabricated an upward pivot windmill generator that I associated with a battery it required an entire month to fabricate, and by then we previously had power once more, yet I was as yet eager to show it to my mother. I requested that she come to the nursery where I had put a shade over my little creation. I lifted it up and showed her my generator, which was associated with her espresso machine. She pressed the beginning button, the espresso creator began going, and I could see exactly the way that dazzled she was the point at which the espresso was prepared. She took a taste and, surprisingly, let me know that it was the best espresso she had ever tasted. Yet while my family was strong of my interest, school was different. I truly needed to get wonderful grades, so one day I could get into an elite-level college very much as my mother did, and truly in many subjects I could get straight A's without learning by any means anyway. When I, like forever, was the only one in class to lift their hand, different children would ridicule me. Particularly Killy, my most despised foe. She wasn't simply mean, however, entirely very entertaining. She once told me, "I realize you're frantically attempting to be shrewd like Hermione from Harry Potter, yet truly you helped me more to remember on Weasley." Everybody chuckled, and I was so outraged by what she had expressed that in the following material science test, I offered the right responses to everybody in our group. Aside from Killy, this was my vengeance, and she really wound up with a D, while every other person got an or B. Our educator obviously understood that most of the children in our group had cheated in some way to get such passing marks. Is the reason he headed toward Killy and said, in addition to the fact that you come up short on comprehension of physical science, but on the other hand, you're the only one in class who doesn't have the foggiest idea how to swindle. Everybody giggled at her, yet it just so happens, it's seldom really smart to go after somebody more famous or strong than you, since now Killy loathed me like never before. That very day in P class we should play tag, and Killy was it, and expected to pursue most of us like different young ladies. I ran hollering and chuckling. However, when Killy came near me she halted, took a gander at me, and said, "You truly do comprehend that nobody likes you, right?" Oof, she'd hit my point of weakness. It truly hurt to be singled out again. Fortunately, I had one companion in my ear. We regularly got together on Fridays to watch a film or do an excursion, yet once she let me know I mightn't today I at any point need to prepare for the huge school party. "Didn't you get welcomed?" "No, in any case, don't stress over it, you're simply effectively failed to remember." I surmise she believed that colloquialism, "you were handily neglected," was a more pleasant approach to saying no one enjoys you, except for it actually harms so a lot, and obviously she made heaps of new companions on that party on the grounds that a short time later my main companion at no point ever needed to spend time with me in the future. The straw that broke the camel's back probably been the point at which my music educator requested that I sing before her group. I let him know I don't really want to make it happen since I was timid, yet he let me know I'd get a terrible grade on the off chance that I didn't, so I went before the class and began singing. I didn't think it was that awful. However, the educator quickly messed up his face in torment and held his hands over his ears. That is the reason every one of my schoolmates burst out snickering at me. Now I realized the instructor simply needed to make a joke, and perhaps in the event that I wasn't so uncertain it would have been fine, yet he obliterated the last piece of certainty I had left after that. I at no point ever brought my arm up in class in the future. I was miserable to such an extent that I at long last wound up moving to another school to have another beginning, and it worked. When I showed up, the main free seat was in the last column close to a truly gorgeous kid called Miguel. I plunked down close to him, and he promptly began letting me know the amount he loathed numerical. I answered, "Really, I like number related." There could be no greater inclination than taking care of a hard mathematical question. Jittery said, "Wow, I just met you and I as of now could do without you right now in my life." I was unreliable to the point that his words quickly made me cry anyway. He didn't intend to hurt me, so he added, "Don't stress, I was simply kidding. How about you stop by my home today? I just got an electric guitar." Wow, was this my big chance to shine? A beautiful person needed to invest energy with me. I acknowledged his greeting, and sometime thereafter we draped out in his space for the initial 20 minutes. Miguel attempted to put the link into the right fitting, yet fizzled. Did I notice he wasn't that shrewd? When I gave him an idea he answered, "Quit bossing me around, I understand what I'm doing." Wow, he was so shaky, and afterward I realized the reason why. He called his father to his room and let him know, "Father, that guitar you got me doesn't work, it's wrecked." "Did you turn on the speakers?" Miguel became totally red, acknowledging he had neglected to turn the speakers on. His father added, "So you're as yet a well. Perhaps I can knock up your mother some other time and have more karma with my next youngster." Wow, I was stunned. His father didn't appear to mind the amount he was harming his child. I attempted to change the point and said, "So Miguel, what's your number one subject in school, by the way? Who thinks often about school? Just nitwits. Get a degree. Once I'm 18 I'll turn into a sales rep and rake in boatloads of cash." That really wasn't a poorly conceived notion. In light of the fact that Miguel was active and famous, I realized he would make an extraordinary sales rep anyway. I differed that getting a degree was futile, so I let him know I truly like school and I desire to get a PhD one day in science. I generally get straight A's frequently without concentrating. Truly, I could perceive how dazzled he was and understood that me being more brilliant than him could make me fascinating to him. Subliminally, he presumably realized he wasn't savvy to the point of being great in school, yet having a splendid sweetheart could be a substitute, so even of some sort or another. However, he was vastly improved looking than me. We began dating, and after every test I showed him my grade to dazzle him and show I wasn't such a terrible catch. After all, that was a misstep. However, I misconceived exactly the way in which unreliable he was about his knowledge, on the grounds that half a month after the fact he was so tired of my steady boasting that he said it was over between us. He would have rather not dated a geek like me any longer, and I right away begun crying. He added, "No person needs to date a young lady that generally attempts to outshine him." I understood I'd committed an error by flaunting with my grades to such an extent. I was sorry and vowed to improve as a sweetheart. He wound up allowing me another opportunity. I actually can't really accept that. What I did next only for him, I began getting terrible grades in school deliberately. You see, Miguel was a very family situated person. He frequently enlightened me regarding needing to have heaps of kids, so I didn't care either way if he maintained that me should be his housewife and become a mother. I really loved the thought. The only one not content with my choice to essentially discard my scholastic vocation with my mother. I was 18, and she was unable to comprehend the reason why I didn't set off for college. "So what will you do rather?" she asked Miguel. "And I will set aside some cash, get hitched and have kids at the earliest opportunity, and the most that we would be able. Yet you're just 18. Why not have youngsters after school?" I was excessively humiliated to come clean with her that Miguel essentially didn't believe that I should set off for college and that I feared losing him, so I deceived my mother and said I very really like to become a mother and have a family. Mother wound up regarding my choice, and when Miguel landed his most memorable position not long after we moved into our own condo, it was energizing to be in a committed relationship early in life. We made long-haul arrangements, and despite the fact that Miguel didn't need me to find a new line of work with loads of profession valuable open doors, since he contended that they would occupy me from being a decent mother, he actually permitted me to give private coach examples to kids as side work, or possibly until I became pregnant. Becoming a mother at 19 was extremely energizing, in light of the fact that without precedent for my life I felt like a genuine grown-up, and Miguel, notwithstanding his frailties and blemishes, was a caring spouse and father. Things were great until I fell pregnant with our second kid at age 21. Dealing with both a child and a baby is staggeringly debilitating, and to be straightforward today, I lament not having gone to college. I would have been one of the top understudies and anticipated an extraordinary profession. It would have been a simpler life anyway. I as of late referenced to Miguel that I was pondering getting a science certificate from a web-based school, meaning I could review from home while dealing with our children. He just got an advancement at his specific employment, so I figured he may be less shaky about me beginning my own vocation. However, he answered by saying that I ought to hold on until our children are grown up before I disregard my obligations as a mother. To be straightforward, he may be correct. However, right now our youngsters need to start things out. I'm certain when all is good and well he'll let me go get well-rounded schooling, since I realize he cherishes me. Please like and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell.